Thank you, sir. Sarla.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to our 66th talk of Insight In-Depth Invited Talk series hosted by the research wing of the prestigious Marty Floss Training College. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Myself, Sanila Manoj, research scholar of Marty Floss Training College. Prayer is the link that connects us with God. Let us begin our meeting by seeking the blessing of the Almighty with a prayer. Please be paused for a while. Thank you, everyone. May I now invite for the welcome address. Over to you, Sinimol ma'am. Sinimol ma'am. Soumya, am I audible?
Yes, Sanila. Yes.
Sinimol ma'am, may she have some technical issue? Soumya, please, can you?
Yes. Good evening, one and all. Respected principal, our distinguished guests, respected teachers, research scholars, students, teachers and all those who have joined from various institutions. Welcome to yet another session of Insight in the Talk series, organized by Marty Floss Training College Research Wing, Ignacia. With a thankful heart, I welcome Dr. K.V. Bennett sir, Principal, Marty Floss Training College, whose guidance and support helps the research wing to conduct many webinars and programs. Hearty welcome to you, sir, to this talk series. Next, I would like to welcome our resource person, Adit Gupta sir. Today, he is presenting. The topic is very interesting. We are really grateful to have you here in this session. A warm welcome to you, sir, on behalf of everyone present here. Next, I would like to welcome Research Coordinator Dr. Bindu Ma'am, a kind-hearted personality with inspiring words. We welcome you to this session, ma'am. Finally, I extend a hearty welcome to all those who have joined in this program. Welcome you and have a nice evening. Welcome.
Sir, I'm Dr. Bindu V here on behalf of Research Wing, Martha Training College. I welcome you, sir, to our session. And it's very happy to have you on this occasion that is from the other part of the country. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, we are spreading our message. And it's a happy occasion to have you here, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Soumya ma'am. Before we start, a humble reminder to our dear participants, please mute your audio unless you are asked to unmute to avoid any distraction. If you have any queries related to the meeting, please type them in the chat box. After the talk by our resource person, there will be a deliberation time. At that time, you can clarify your queries. This webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded in the MTTC Nalanchira, our official YouTube channel. And the link will be shared through the Insight Indepth WhatsApp groups. Feedback form will be shared through the chat box only at the end of the
ये वाला था क्या?
participants.
जाओ ड्रेस उतार के रखो, उसको आयरन करके रखो. हाँ.
Please,
उसको पहन बंदा नहीं कर
audio. Sorry for the distraction. Feedback form will be shared only at the end of the meeting through our chat box. Only those who submit the feedback form will receive the e-certificate through the
मम्मा का केक ऑफ ट्विन कौन है देखते हैं, ठीक है?
form. Excuse me, Prita Pillai.
Are you?
Unmute your audio. Thank you. Sorry, dear participants. Only those who submit the feedback form will receive the e-certificate through the email ID which you enter in the feedback form. I humbly request everyone to kindly follow the instructions for the smooth conduct of the meeting. Kindly cooperate. Thank you. May I now invite Sangeeta K, Research Scholar, Martha Training College, for introducing our guest of honor. Our topic for today is in innovative practices in research by Dr. Adit Gupta, Director of Model Institute of Education and Research, Jammu. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Over to you, Mrs. Sangeeta K, for introducing our guest of honor.
Am I audible, Sanila ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, you are. Please. Thank you.
A healthy good evening to all. Today, on the 66th Insight In-Depth Talk Series, organized by our prestigious institution, Martha Training College, we have got an eminent person, Dr. Adit Gupta, to share his ideas related to the topic, innovative practices in research. Really a significant topic, and a detailed discussion on this will help the research scholars as well as the other academicians to clarify their doubts and update the information. And about the resource person, Dr. Adit Gupta, more details regarding his academic career and professional growth. So he is the director of Model Institute of Education and Research, Jammu, and is also a professor and principal at the MIER College of Education, Jammu. And again, his PhD is in the field of technology-supported learning environment from Curtin University, Australia. And Dr. Gupta has over 24 years of teaching and professional experience at various levels and has contributed a lot for the promotion of educational research. He has received the prestigious Endeavour Executive Award of the Australian government in the year 2009 for conducting research in his area of specialization. Not only that, he has been appointed as the Endeavour Award Ambassador for the year 2016 by the Australia government. And psychosocial learning environment, educational technology, then educational psychology, then again educational measurement and evaluation, teacher and school education, etc. are the primary areas of his research. He is a member of various prestigious bodies such as National Association of Research in Science Technology, the American Education Research Association, All India Association for Educational Research, and Australia Science Education Research Association. Dr. Gupta has been participated and presented papers in numerous national and international conferences and has been working as a reviewer of research papers at the international level. He is also the managing editor of the MIER Journal of Educational Studies, has been a trained assessor of the NAC, and he has acted as a member coordinator for various NAC peer team visit. And above all that, again, he has been awarded an innovative patent by the Registrar of Patents, Commonwealth of Australia, for his research on online teaching and learning. Besides this, he has also received the Editorial Excellence Award twice, National Eminent Editor Award, International Academic Leader Award, and Best Senior Research Award for his contribution to academia and research. If I try to enlist his achievements in this manner, definitely it will be, the list will be a little bit lengthy. So without much introduction, we take this opportunity to extend a delightful welcome to Dr. Gupta sir at this session. Welcome you, sir. Once again, welcome you, sir, in this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. We are fortunate to have such a great personality as our resource person who will definitely enlighten our knowledge. With a great gratitude, let me invite Dr. Adit Gupta sir for sharing the knowledge on innovative practices in research. The platform is yours, sir. Please.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So it's a great pleasure to be part of this enlightened group, and thanks to Dr. Benedict for his very kind invitation, and Dr. Bindu for coordinating the entire organization of this particular event. I'm so happy that I could share my views and thoughts with all of you today on this forum. I'm sure that your college is doing great, especially in the field of teacher education down south, and it's good to connect with our compatriots in other parts of the country who are really bringing meaningful changes in the field of teacher education. And without teacher education colleges, the future of the country will not be as bright as it is right now. So today I plan to talk to you about something very interesting, which is innovative practices in research. Since this particular event has been, organized at this point of the day when we are almost at the fag end, and nobody would like to go into the in-depth, details of core research. I thought I'd like to talk on a topic which would be interesting because I'd like to add some technology to innovative practices in research. And from this, I mean is that we are doing a lot of research work in our colleges, but the way it is being disseminated and the way it is being promoted, those are the two important aspects that need to be understood by each and every researcher, whether they are research scholars, whether they are teacher educators, whether they are academicians. That dissemination and promotion of research is equally important as it is conducting the research. So I'll pace my presentation so that it finishes in about 35 to 40 minutes time, so that we have another 10-15 minutes for interaction and we finish within our time limit, and try to keep it as interesting as possible. I'll just like to share my screen with all of you right now. Just a second. It's not allowing me to share my screen. Just a second. So are you able to see my screen at the moment?
Sir.
I think so. There is some issue that does not permit me to share my screen. Is it enabled from your end or? Could you just check at your end whether screen sharing is possible or it has been enabled?
No, sir.
It's not visible, sir. Are you doing from the same laptop or from two
No.
equipment?
Same laptop.
Then after sharing, you have to minimize the first window and open the PPT window, sir.
I know. Just a second. So is it okay if I just disconnect for a moment and reconnect?
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir. You can, please.
Yeah, okay. Let me just check now.
Yes, sir. It is functioning now.
Yes. So can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Great. Sorry for that inconvenience. Okay, so when we talk about innovative practices, let me just put the perspective of NAC into all of this, because NAC always says that institutional excellence in higher education is the aggregate of the innovative best practices followed in different areas of institutional performance. So NAC at the end of any of its parameters always emphasizes on innovative practices, and one area of innovative practice is their research aspect. Most of the institutions, they conduct regular research, but nobody tries to innovate or bring innovations or bring innovative practices in research in their educational institutions. And that is where in the overall scheme of things, when we try to give grades to institutions, we always find that research is one area where innovation is always lacking. So I would always recommend and suggest and encourage institutions that they should always try to innovate in the area of research. And once we start innovating, there are 5 major advantages we'll get out of innovating, especially in the field of research. Is number 1, we'll add commendable value to an institution and its various stakeholders. We'll be considered as reliable benchmarks or standards of quality. There will be a roadmap for self-improvement to institutions. It will help us in focusing on continuous improvement, and it will also help in closing the gap between an existing practice of the institution and that of the best-in-class institution. So the idea is to become better than what we are at the moment. And unless and until we bring innovation or innovative practices, we would not be able to become better. So we need to add value to what we are doing. We need to set a benchmark. We need to provide a very clear roadmap for improvement. We need to focus on the continuous improvement. It's not that if we've achieved a particular status, we are happy with that status. We know that quality is a process of continual improvement. So we need to go on improving, bringing meaningful changes and innovations so that we keep on becoming better than what we were yesterday, and also help us in closing the gap between topmost institutions and our existing institutions. So whenever we talk about innovative practices, we always try to see, for example, if we try to see a college which has an A++ grade in NAC, so what are those innovative practices being followed in those institutions? Let us try to imbibe those qualities in our institution and try to close the gap. So bringing innovation in whatever we'll do will help us in focusing on these 5 aspects of innovative practices under the NAC. Coming to research, where all we can innovate when we talk about research. Number one area is journal publications. We need to bring out as many publications as possible. Now the biggest challenge is publications being done 15-20 years before and publications being done today. There is a remarkable difference in the way these publications are being promoted. Nowadays, if a journal which is not online, even it may be of a very high quality, is not considered to be an ideal choice for publication, because unless and until if it has an online presence, you will not be able to disseminate and promote your information. So where do you innovate? Always choose a journal which has either both print as well as online versions, or which is an only online version in itself. Plus these journal publications have to have proper indexation in high quality databases for better visibility. They should be having a DOI number, which is a digital object indexing number, because unless and until we have meta tagging of these online databases, our research will not be promoted and disseminated in a proper manner. So innovations in journal publishing have to be there. Then there have to be conference presentations both at the national as well as the international level. So the faculty needs to strive hard that every year they need to participate in national and international conferences, seminars and workshops, and keep on doing that each and every year. It's not that I attended 3 workshops or 3 conferences last year, this year I'm going to take a break. No, we need to keep on building our online profile year after year. Then only we'll be able to innovate in the field of research. We need to project ourselves as key resource persons. We need to project ourselves as keynote speakers in various conferences and workshops. Then only it's only through word of mouth and through promotion on social media you will be able to get your message across, and you will be able to make yourself recognized as a recommended or an expert in that particular area of research. So you need to promote yourself as a resource person as well. You need to bring out books. You need to write chapters in various edited books. And in fact, bringing out chapters in edited books has equal number of weightage when it comes to your API scores. Although may not be as high as a journal, but then publishing an edited book chapter is also not as tough as publishing in a journal. So just to get your marks and your API scores higher, you need to publish books and book chapters. Then you could also be part of editorial boards and reviewer empanelment as part of journals. There are journals who are always on the lookout for reviewers who are able to review papers in good English, have a good sense of the research methodology, the process of sampling, even data analysis. In fact, nowadays people are looking at those experts who can do both quantitative as well as qualitative analysis of data. So mixed method research has become the next wave now. So you need to build up your capabilities and your capacities so that you could be on the editorial boards and on the reviewer empanelment of various journals. You need to bring about theses and dissertations. So do some action research, maybe for, with students at the undergraduate level. And if you have postgraduate programs in your college, then be involved with their thesis and dissertation work, because thesis and dissertation work are the first stepping stone towards bringing out a full-fledged research paper. And the data that you have in your thesis and dissertation, maybe you could bring out multiple, research papers out of that. So it's an excellent stepping stone to start your research journey. And if you have already started, then doing thesis and dissertations every year with your students will not only improve your own research skills, but also help in improving your publication index. And last but not the least, you could always innovate by having some sponsored research projects. So for example, the University Grants Commission or the UGC brings out a lot of minor and major research projects. Organizations like ICSSR, which primarily deal with social sciences research, are a very big source of funding for research in the field of education. So you could always explore ICSSR and UGC websites because they keep on coming out with various sponsored research projects. And if nothing else works, try to do a sponsored research project from the institution itself. Maybe the institution could provide you some kind of a seed money to undertake a research project, and that would be a good stepping stone, or it will provide you a good impetus to take up research. So these are some of the areas in which you could have these innovative practices in journal publications, in conferences, as resource persons and keynote speakers, writing books and writing book chapters, being part of editorial boards of journals, and also being reviewers, doing a lot of work with students through theses and dissertations, and also bringing out some research projects both at the institutional level and through national agencies like UGC and ICSSR. Apart from that, there are certain indexes, there are certain digital platforms where all researchers need to be present, because without this, a researcher is totally incomplete. I would first recommend that everybody need to have their Google Scholar research profile. And I am just using my examples in all of these, IDs, so that you come to know what exactly, is the information that you are going to get. So for example, when you check out a Google Scholar profile, and this is an example of my profile. So Google Scholar profile helps you in, telling the world what your affiliation is. It tells you some very important indices which no other metrics gives you. It tells you your citation index, it tells you your H index, it tells you your I-10 index, which means that whether your paper has been, cited more than 10 times, and similarly, how many times in your total lifespan your papers have been cited. So this gives a very good idea to anybody who reviews you as a researcher, that yes, your papers are being cited and they are being studied by various scholars. So Google Scholar is the first identity that everybody should get. So for this, you just need to have your Gmail account, and whenever you publish a research paper, it should be linked with that Gmail account. Then Google will automatically start developing this database for you. Apart from Google Scholar, you could always have a ResearchGate, platform. ResearchGate platform is also an excellent platform for researchers to showcase their publications, to showcase their research. You also, connect with fellow researchers. This is one of the best forums to prepare for joint collaborative research projects. And, all your research papers, whether they have been cited, whether they are available, their full text availability of those papers are all available on this one platform for everybody to see. And whenever you publish an article, just upload the latest version here. So this is another platform to which is excellent to disseminate information. And this platform also helps you in connecting with fellow researchers, which is again a great thing in networking in research. The third aspect that I'd like to show you is called academia. And this academia also has, this is a free, all these tools are free tools that I'm telling you. Maybe for certain features, which are advanced features, you may, like to pay for certain features if you really require them. But otherwise, the free versions of these platforms are enough for you. So this is academia. Here also you have all your research papers, shared. You come to know how many people have read your papers, who all have downloaded your papers. And this also, academia helps you to, create your own website. So it provides you this facility where you can have your own biography, where you can, click on research, and all your papers are available for viewing by anybody who wants to review what kind of work you are doing. And then apart from that, it also helps you, develop your CV. So somebody wants to download your CV, that is immediately available for them to download. And then if somebody wants to contact, they could always fill up this form and get in touch with you. So this is another excellent platform that provides you know, access to various networking platforms for research. So the three platforms that I'll again reiterate is, one is Google Scholar, one is ResearchGate, and one is Academia. Apart from these, two of the most utilized indices or databases in the field of research are Scopus and Web of Science. Scopus and Web of Science, they are the largest and the most you know, comprehensively used databases which are being used by the topmost libraries in almost all the universities in our country and abroad. And if you publish your papers in Scopus and Web of Science index journals, you must have a Scopus ID and your researcher ID, which is called the Web of Science. It is also called as the Publons ID. So there are few names for the Web of Science. So every, you know, researcher needs to have a Scopus ID, because this gives credibility to your work. So like, for example, my Scopus ID is already there. I know which of my papers have been cited 5 times, 2 times, 4 times, and how many, what is my H index on the Scopus page. So all my papers, and in fact, all other papers that the authors have written, they would be available here. So I know, say, this paper has been cited 6 times in Scopus journals. So it gives you a good, you know, insight and improves your credibility as a researcher. Similarly, you have your Web of Science, which I said is a Publons ID. And this is, again, you'll get a Web of Science researcher's ID. This researcher ID is, you know, linked across all platforms. So if you publish one article in one of these platforms, it automatically gets disseminated to everybody who has access to Web of Science or Scopus. So again, an excellent field to disseminate your research. So again, a big recommendation from my side to all of you, that please have your Web of Science and Scopus IDs in place, so that your research gets disseminated at a much larger you know, pace, and to a much larger audience, so that you derive the benefits of these platforms. And then last of all, you must have your ORCID ID, which is an open source researchers contributor ID. Without this ORCID ID, you know, if you just look at this ORCID ID page, you can see on the left side the researcher ID, that is the Web of Science ID, and the Scopus author ID is already linked. So if you put any paper on ORCID, if you put any paper on researcher IDs or Web of Science, or if you put any paper on the Scopus, automatically all your research gets collated at one place, and you start, you know, seeing important metrics coming out of these platforms. And this is the most important index, you know, for a researcher. You know, recently also, the Indian Research Network has also been set up. I'll be showing you a small glimpse of that a little later. And that also helps you in disseminating your information. So as a researcher, if you have to innovate, you need to have your Google Scholar, you need to have your ResearchGate, you need to have your Academia ID, and then you should be registered as a Scopus author, as a Web of Science author, and you need to have your ORCID ID. All these things are interrelated through the internet, and this gives you far greater possibilities in improving and enhancing your research output, which is a must for all budding researchers and all senior researchers as well. Many of our, you know, senior researchers who have done excellent work, their papers are still published in those kinds of journals which are only in print form and are available in specific libraries. Me as an author may not have access to all those papers. How good would have it been if all those papers would have been available on these platforms, on these you know, connected through ORCID or on ResearchGate or Google Scholar? It would have been much easier to disseminate that kind of information to a larger audience, and also benefit the researcher per se. Apart from, you know, these 3 networks, we need to use these 2 social media platforms. I am specifically pointing towards LinkedIn and towards Twitter. I'm not talking about either Instagram or Facebook, because these 2 networks are more for, social connectivity rather than disseminating the right kind of information. But LinkedIn is a very, very professional network, and it means business. So if you really want to promote your research, LinkedIn is the place to be. Your LinkedIn profile should be, very well curated. You should have a very, proper curation of the content that you put on LinkedIn. You should have a proper photograph. Your contact details should be updated. And then whenever you publish a paper, kindly upload a PDF version of that paper on LinkedIn, and also connect your journal web address or a URL address on your LinkedIn profile. That will again help people who visit your profile to see what kind of research you have done and what is the area of expertise of your research. So LinkedIn is an excellent platform to disseminate, for serious researchers, for serious academicians, and for people to, build collaboration. In fact, I'd like to tell you that we had a recent collaboration with the Commonwealth of Learning, and it was only through LinkedIn that we got into that collaboration. And the Commonwealth of Learning really helped us in developing blended learning environment and blended learning, modules for our faculty to disseminate to the students. So it was only through these professional networks that you will be able to get topmost institutions and authors to connect with you. And then Twitter is also a very, very popular in academics, within academics and with the academia. And it also helps you in connecting with researchers and academic community, and also to disseminate your research work. And then we come to the IRINS platform. This IRINS platform is the Indian Research Information Network System, has recently been set up by the Ministry of Education, and is being, I think so, handled by the InfilabNet people, which is in Gujarat. And they are managing this IRINS network. So this network is basically required for all institutions. So first of all, you need to create your institutional repository. And how do you create that institutional repository? You just go to the IRINS website, and then you fill up a particular form with all your details, all your faculty details, and then you send it to them. So this is the kind of dashboard they'll create for you. This is the dashboard that has been created for our college. It shows that there are 19 faculty members, and total 101 publications have been there. 1 patent has been there. Impact factor can also be calculated. How many citations are there? Top 10 profiles, which one of these are? Which are the latest articles? What are your indexing values like? Cross-reference citations are there. So it gives you all the research-based metrics which is required for NAC, AQARs, and SSRs. So these are, excellent platforms to get this kind of a network. So I'll request your college to kindly create this instance on the IRINS network, and then this will also help in developing each and every faculty's profile as well. So if I'll just show you the faculty profiles. So this is another profile of mine. So every faculty gets a Vidwan ID. You will get a dedicated number which will be unique to your number. And this number will tell you when you, update your information, what is your H index, what is your citation, what is your Google. See, your Google citation index is also linked now here. And if you see on the left hand side, your ORCID ID, your Scopus ID, your researcher ID, your Google ID, all those 4 IDs that I was talking to you about earlier are all integrated into this one single platform that gives you a complete information about how good a researcher you are. And this is one of the best ways for people to come and see what kind of research you are doing, and they would love to collaborate with you. They would love to do a project with you, maybe collaborate with your organization. And since you said that you have a dedicated research center like we have in our College of Education, it will be a good idea maybe to collaborate together as well and bring out joint research projects. So this is an excellent platform and a profile to generate for every researcher and a research scholar in your organization. In fact, this graph tells you what kind of research, in which year, with which researcher you have done, and then it tells you your entire experience, your honors and awards, your doctoral thesis, memberships, your research projects, your patents, your publication, and then it also gives you this alt matrix, which is a very different kind of citations related with your published research work. So if your papers have been cited a few X number of times in topmost journals, so you will get these kind of alt matrix data as well. So another excellent platform for all researchers to show. So I'll suggest again, and I'll encourage you as an organization, as a college, to register on the IRINS platform of the InfyLibNet and prepare each and every researcher's profile as well. So you'll get a institution-wise dashboard and an individual-wise dashboard. And from here, I can see all those people in my organization. So if suppose I want to click on, say, Dr. Nishtha Rana from my organization, so her record will immediately be fetched also from the IRINS platform. I can know what the expertise are. I can see what their papers are, what research projects have they done, what is their Google Scholar index and research. So I can check on each and every person's profile from this particular platform. So IRINS platform, I'll recommend that all of you must have support for this particular platform. Then we need to only publish in credible journals which are either in the UGC care list or which are indexed with Scopus, Web of Science, or other topmost databases like Index, Copernicus. Then there is a very important index in India, the Indian Citation Index, ICI. So we need to see if the journal is indexed with such prominent databases. So we should only choose journals that are indexed in prominent databases. Then post publications on social media and through institutional websites. As I told you, that is again a very, very important thing to do. Then you need to create a personal research website so that people can follow you. They can see what kind of research you have done, and that will help them in collaborating with you and contacting you. Then what you can do is you can bring out your own journal in the field of education or in any other field that you think you have the expertise in. So like, for example, we bring out a journal of education, which is called the MIER Journal of Educational Studies, Trends and Practices. And this journal is also indexed with the Web of Science and Index Copernicus. And we've just been indexed with the SCOPE database as well as the Indian Citation Index. And we've been publishing for the last 11 years now, since 2011. And we've got an excellent Google Scholar record. So this again is good food for thought for you to start your own journal of education. And maybe if you want your papers to be published, we'll be very happy to support you in terms of publishing your papers in our journal. Although we follow a very thorough review process, and it takes about 3 to 4 months because we bring only 2 issues per year. So we bring about a journal of education, and then we also publish abstract and research summaries. So what we do is that we bring about these research perspectives, which is basically summary of the research of dissertation. So all our students' research work is published in the form of research summaries. And these summaries can act as a good bibliography and reference for budding researchers to cite and to use in their research. So this is again an innovative practice of our institution. So we bring out a journal and we bring and publish research summaries for the students who do research. Another important aspect of innovative practices, we as an institution have a research promotion policy. I would recommend this that everybody, every college should have a research promotion policy for its faculty. So like we fund for every research conference that our faculty wants to participate in, we pay for their enrollment fees, the registration fees, their travel, boarding, lodging, and also publication in journals. For example, if they publish in an international journal, we pay them 5,000 rupees per paper. If they publish in a national journal, it's 3,000 rupees a paper. So the amounts may not be big, but if somebody publishes 5 papers in an international journal, it could easily become a 15,000 rupee remuneration for them. So last year we paid about a lakh of rupees to our faculty members just under the research promotion policy, and we found that this policy has really motivated faculty members to work towards improving their research skills and improving their publications as well. So please have a research promotion policy in place for the faculty members. You should also try to provide access to research tools for the faculty. For example, we have an SPSS license for our campus-wide use for our research scholars as well as our teachers. We use free softwares like Mendeley, which is a reference management software. So all those students who are always struggling with writing references, because there are journals and publications that require the APA format, which is the American Psychological Associations, or somebody requires a Chicago listing, somebody requires an MLA listing. So it's not physically possible for a researcher to remember how to cite a reference in a particular format. So for them, Mendeley is an excellent tool, again a free tool to use, and this tool can be integrated with your Microsoft Word. So what you need to do is, whenever you are writing a text and you insert an in-text reference, when you complete your reference, just at the end of the document, click a button and automatically all your references will be written at the back of the chapter or the publication that you are bringing, and you don't need to manually write any reference. And it'll be exactly according to the format that you want, whether it is APA, MLA, or Chicago, whatever is the reference style. You can use the Mendeley software. So again, an innovative approach in research and free of cost. Then you should have good access to library resources. One of the cheapest and the best accesses available are the Enlist platform, again by the InfilibNet. And then you have some paid, platforms also like JGate, like ICI, which is the Indian Citation Index, and the Scope database also. So they also provide access to, research journals. And in fact, both paid as well as free journals database is available on these platforms. So your library should subscribe to these library resources. You should organize a lot of, guest lectures, colloquias, seminars, workshops, and conferences. To start with, maybe if you can't organize a seminar or a workshop every time, like you organize this kind of a lecture every month, this is again an excellent resource to generate. And then you could organize colloquias. So what happens in colloquias is you could always ask budding researchers who have just finished their thesis or who have just published their PhD work to come and share their results and experiences with your students, your faculty members. And if there are mid-level researchers or young level researchers, they could also share their findings. So it's a good platform for people to share their findings of research. And when they share their findings of research, they get a good feedback. And people who are trying to get into research, they also come to know in which areas work is being done, what kind of tools are being used, what kind of research methodology is being employed, what kind of data analysis is being done. So all that kind of information you will get from colloquias and seminars. Apart from that, we should have faculty trainings in different aspects of research and data analysis. It's very important. So your faculty development program has to be very strong in research. Research is one skill. If you don't utilize, you're going to forget it over a period of time. Even SPSS, you need to keep on practicing from time to time to get used to the nuances of the software, because it keeps on updating. So you as a faculty need to keep yourself abreast, and there the role of the college comes into being, because just not training your people into teaching pedagogies or methodologies, it's very important to give exposure to faculty in research. So how to write a reference, how to write an abstract, how to do content analysis, or how to do sampling. So these are small areas where faculty development programs can be organized, and your faculty could be trained in the use of various aspects of research. So faculty training is very important. And why we are doing all of this? The main purpose is to build a culture of research. If we talk about online teaching, use of technology in teaching, compared to 3 years back, if we compare ourselves now, you see the amount of technology being utilized today. We could never have thought of organizing this kind of a webinar. Maybe 3 years back, everybody would think of maybe inviting people, paying for their travel, paying for their accommodation, and enhancing the cost of a particular 2-hour program. But now with technology at the forefront, how easy it is to do these webinars and collaborative talks with one another. So we've built a culture of technology integration into our pedagogy and into our system and administration. Similarly, we need to build a system of research also in our organizations. And that can only be done if we have a good research promotion policy, if we train our teachers, if we provide them the requisite research tools, if we equip our laboratories and libraries, and if we, train them with the right approach, it will help in developing a proper research culture in the organization, which is, the ultimate aim of the innovative practices in research. To summarize, I would just like to say that how we can improve some of the research practices. Number one, we should organize research paper competitions. Now, whether these competitions, because we as an organization organize for the faculty also, we organize for the students also. We organize research project competitions. We organize these competitions for the faculty, for the students. For every faculty, say if we have 7 people who are participating in the research project, the top 3 projects that will be selected will be given a funding of 20,000 each from the institution to do that project. Similarly, for students project, we give 5,000 rupees to each student, to do that particular project. So with this, you need to organize, research papers, and you need to organize these research projects for the students. Similarly, you need to provide some seed money for research studies to the students as well as the teachers. Apart from that, we need to develop a research mentorship program. This research mentorship program is very important because research mentorship is required by the teachers. It is also required by the students. So you need to engage, top researchers in your areas to mentor your faculty. And once your faculty is trained, you need to mentor your students. This process of mentoring, in fact, has become the new buzzword, and UGC has developed a new white paper on mentoring also. I'll request you to kindly download that information from the UGC website on mentoring. And there are many organizations that are getting into the mentoring business. So the NAC is also recognizing mentoring program in a big way, and their AQRs and SSRs are now requiring information on mentoring to be entered by colleges and universities. So we need to organize these mentorship programs. Apart from that, we could always have, research focus group sessions. So for example, if technology is one area where you think that your college is doing very good, you need to organize a focus, group sessions, how we can further improve technology integration, or if we've been using technology in teaching learning process or in pedagogies, how can we use technology in assessment? How can we use technology in enhancing the performance of our administration? How can we use maybe technology, maybe through an ERP, to streamline and automate the processes of the functioning of our college? So there are hundreds and hundreds of ways where we could, promote research in the institution. It could be through a focus group session. So you could have 3 or 4 dedicated faculty members who keep on thinking about ideas and how to implement them and improve, research in the institution. You should always strive for collaborative research. That means you need to seek out individuals. You need to seek out similar institutions to your, abilities, or similar teacher education institutions with whom you can collaborate and bring out, meaningful research and bring out papers. So in fact, it could be we could choose a top most research journal to publish papers in open access, and these research journals don't charge anywhere less than maybe $500 or $600, which is about 40,000 rupees. So if it's a collaborative research project, maybe 20,000 rupees are put in by your institution and 20,000 rupees are put in by your collaborative institution. But high quality research output could be ensured, and it's a great way of promoting research. And then now you could always file for patents in the field of education. Earlier, patents were only restricted to core science areas and fundamental research areas, but now you can always file for patents in the field of education. And we in fact filed a patent last year with the Commonwealth Patents Office in Australia, and we were granted that particular patent for online classroom learning collaboration platform using Google learning management system. And this patent was granted to us last year in 2021, so which paved the way for many other faculty members have also now applied for patents. I'll request that if you have your research papers which are based on some intervention, some experiment that you conducted, which has effective results, you could always try to get an innovative or innovation patent, in the name of your researcher and for your institution, which is again an excellent source of motivation, and you get these extra points with NAC again when you file for patent. So this is again a new area of work and an innovative practice in research, especially for social science research. And last but not the least, you can only have innovative practices in research if you are able to establish integrity, if you are able to have ethics in research. And with that, I mean integrity means that do not publish in predatory journals, do not publish in journals that first ask you for money and then they publish your paper within a span of 3 days. That is not the right way of publishing. Don't choose those journals that bring out 30, 40 papers in one edition. Don't choose those journals which are multidisciplinary in nature. They'll have one paper from education, one from science, one from management, one for commerce, one from economics, maybe one from any other from medical science. So don't choose such type of journals. We need to establish integrity wherever we publish. We may publish less, but quality is more important than quantity. But once you start publishing quality, you'll automatically see that your acceptability and publication in high quality research journals will improve with time. It's a slow, gradual process. It's not a a trick that you start publishing right from day one and 10 papers in a year, and so that would not be the right way to do. So having your integrity is very, very important, and then ethics in research are equally important. So please, whenever you try to publish a paper, when you bring out a paper, always check for plagiarism. We do not want our papers to have more than 10% plagiarism in any form. So whenever you cite, whenever you copy content from internet, whenever you copy content from another paper, please cite the researcher, please give the proper reference, and due acknowledgement to the source needs to be given whenever you have to publish. So ethics in research and establishing integrity is very important. You should not say that you publish a paper as a book chapter and just change the title and then send that paper to a research journal for publication, for having a second publication. That is not the right ethics. You need to change the content as well, and it should not have the same content that is covered in a book chapter in the research journal. It has to be more analytical as compared to book chapter. Book chapter could be more general kind of publication. So these are small things that you need to take into account when you build a culture of research in your organization. When you innovate, when you bring innovative practices in research, your integrity and your ethics are also very, very important. And with that, we come to the end of the session. I will only say that we need to innovate, and only then we'll be able to excel. Otherwise, we'll not be able to go to the next higher level and achieve success in life. So innovation actually is the key to success in whatever you do, whether it is a teaching learning process, whether it is research, whether it is administration, or any other aspect of your institution. You will only excel once you innovate. So thank you very much for this patient listening and giving me this opportunity to interact with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm Dr. Bindu B, Associate Professor and Coordinator of Research Wing, Martyr Training College. Thank you very much, sir. Today it's a great fortune for us. I don't know how to describe it because it is a wonderful session and a wonderful piece of information from you, sir, that we have benefited a lot, both for our faculty members and also for our research scholars. And
Right.
what could I say? That the session is really a window to the world of innovative research. And the way of presentation, it is simpler than simplest, and that reveals your communication high potential. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Actually, I invited Dr. Renu Gupta of your institute, who I
Right.
met at Christ University when we were at Christ University, Bangalore. And I
Okay,
am
okay.
the way you are being introduced is that the cheerfulness and her way of introduction is also reflected in this session, sir. And we look forward for your from your institute for our future collaborations too. Thank you very much, sir. One thing I would like to ask is, sir, that you mentioned about the Commonwealth of Learning, collaboration with Commonwealth of Learning from your institute. Could you
Yes.
please give the details? What kind of activities are going on in your institute as part of this collaboration?
Right. So, with Commonwealth of Learning, they have selected our institution to run a program on providing blended learning technology, learning material in the institution. So, what they have done is they have trained our teachers in building MOOCs. So we have a Moodle platform, and from the next session, we are going to teach our students through MOOC. So for the papers that would be taught in the next semester, some part of that paper, maybe out of the 4 units, 2 units will be taught through a MOOCs platform. And our teachers, have been trained in recording videos to prepare, incorporate text, video, and also their presentations within a particular MOOC. And to prepare this blended course material so that the delivery of that course material can be given to the student, and the students will also be assessed from within the platform, and then the efficacy of this platform will be ascertained, and then if there are some changes that need to be brought into the system, they will be done. So the Commonwealth of Learning is training our teachers in doing this and developing blended learning course material.
Okay, sir. Please, could you please give the details? I'll make them in our college also. And our gratitude in your own words. It's indescribably beautiful, sir. Once again, thank you very much, sir.
Most welcome. I'll pass on the details of the concerned person to you. You could always get in touch with them.
Okay, I'll keep in touch with them. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Gupta, sir. It's really fortunate even for us to be associated with you, to hear from your experience and your practice of wisdom in the real down-to-earth format. It is really exemplary. One information I wish to know further is regarding the possibility of patency in social science research, because when we have approached the regular agency for patency, for example, one of the educational softwares we have developed as part of the research. It's a research outcome, but even then, that agency has denied that entry for the patency because that particular agency is mainly focusing on the pure core science patency. So,
right.
So what's the procedure that you have done, and would you able to give a little more elaboration of that particular aspect of the patency experience of your institute, please?
Are you talking about the patent?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll share the. There are 2-3 agencies. So one deals with the Australia Patents Office, and the other recently has come up with is with the Germany Patents Office. So I'll share the two agencies details with you. You could always send them a copy of your paper. They'll evaluate it, and then they'll let you know whether it can be filed for a patent or not. And then obviously there is a small fee associated with that patent filing, and it takes about 4 months time for you to receive the confirmation whether your patent has been accepted or not.
Sir, the main doubt is whether it is regarding a publication content is to be patent or a product idea is to be patent.
Okay, so the difference between the two is that product idea is for engineering and sciences, and for social sciences it can only be for the research work that has been done. So it is not for a product, it is only for an investigation that you have conducted, and that is why it is called an innovations patent. It is not called a product patent.
Yeah, that's a very good new piece of information from our domain. So kindly share the details to our college also. We're actually doing many good number of research, but at the same time, with respect to the number of patents, we are just in a kind of darkness regarding when we approach the regular agency, which concentrate only on the
products.
Yeah,
or either they are doing software kind of patents where you have a software product. Then there is a hardware product where, for example, you have engineering products that require to be patented. So that is a different field. We also came to know about it recently. I'll be most happy to share the agency with you, and if you can benefit out of it, nothing like it. It will really help you a lot in the long run.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adit Gupta, sir, for such a great and wonderful presentation. It is very much useful for us as most of us are related to research. Thank you so much. Dear participants, if you have any queries, please unmute yourselves and ask, please. In the chat box, there is one query, sir. What is SPSS research tool? What are the uses of SPSS?
Okay, so like SPSS is basically a statistical package for social science. That is what is the full form, SPSS. So it helps you with data analysis. For example, when you are doing your research and you have to analyze your data, so if you have to calculate mean, median, mode, standard deviation, you have to do correlation, or you have to do comparative analysis like a t-test, or a analysis of variance like an f-test. So rather than doing it manually and with large data sets, doing a manual work would not be feasible. So you use softwares like SPSS to do data processing for you. And with just after organizing your data in an Excel file, you need to upload it into SPSS. Once you do that, you just run random numbers. So if you want to find out the mean of your data set, you can just click on one button, mean, and it will give you the value of mean. If you want analysis of variance to be done, just click on the variables, select the variables, click on it, and that's how it's basically a software to do statistics.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Principal Dr. K.V. Bendik sir is also want to mention about ERIC database. Please, sir.
Yeah, okay. So ERIC database is also one of the topmost databases in the world. And basically ERIC database tries to index journals, books, and all manuscripts. So if you bring out a journal and you want to get it indexed, you need to apply to ERIC. ERIC is also an international database like Scopus, Web of Science. Similarly, you have others like EBSCO host, you have ProQuest, you have PsycInfo, you have PubMed. So these are all different types of databases. But like ERIC is a database which includes all types of databases. It is not restricted to education. But like PubMed is only for medical. Scopus also has everything. Web of Science also has everything. So there are domain-specific databases only for education, or only for engineering, or only for sciences or medical sciences. And then there are multidisciplinary databases, like ERIC is also one of the multidisciplinary databases.
Thank you so much, sir. Chat box is bombarded with thank you, excellent section, very informative section. Thank you, sir. All these things are there. Dear participants, do you have any other? Sorry, sir.
Sanila, excuse me, sir. Even people, those who doesn't have any technical competency to deal with the SPSS, one resource is social science, SOCSCI statistics.org, in which anyone can do these statistical calculations without such complexity or basic data manipulation background regarding that of the SPSS. Very simply, anyone can give the data, and we can have any kind of operations with all the kind of interpretations and free of cost. Within seconds, it will do, sir. Much easier than SPSS.
SPSS, right? Excellent, sir. Excellent. You could always put that website into the chat box so that everybody can know about it, and they can just copy it and use it as well. In fact, I would also like to suggest that to my students. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Bindu ma'am, can we move forward?
Yes, Sanla.
Thank you, ma'am. The best kind of giving is Thanksgiving. Now it's the time to express our gratitude. Let me invite Mrs. Tara Rajendran, Research Scholar, Multi-Plus Training College, for proposing the vote of thanks. Over to you, Tara, ma'am.
Thank you, Sanila. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, please.
A grateful heart is a most honored heart. With joy, let me move on to my bestowed duty. I thank wholeheartedly our today's resource person, Dr. Adit Gupta, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the keys in research and making our day. Thank you so much, sir. My sincere gratitude to our dear principal, Dr. K.Y. Benedict, he being the fountainhead and unending motivation for we researchers. Thank you, sir. I heartfully thank our research coordinator, Dr. Bindu B, for being the continuum of backup for the research wing. Thank you, ma'am. My vote of gratitude to our dear Dr. Ansi, ma'am, for handling the DG part of the webinar sessions. Thank you, Ansi, ma'am. I, with all my heart, would like to thank all the research supervisors, teachers, students, and scholars who have joined us today. Thank you for all your patience and cooperation. I would like to thank all the heart and hand behind the success of the session. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Over to you, Sanla, ma'am.
Thank you, Tara, ma'am. Dear participants, please fill the feedback form. The link is shared in the chat box. E-certificate will be received in your email ID, which you have entered in the feedback form. Thank you so much for your valuable participation. Please join us on next week for another great webinar in our Insight In-Depth Invited Talk series. Thank you so much. See you all next week. God bless you all. Stay safe. Thank you once again. Now we have come to the end of the webinar. If possible, please stand up for National Anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा चंचल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.